2020 was brutal for us as a nation. Over 10,000 people lost their jobs, and at least 500 of our favorite eateries were shut down between February and April last year. Many of the retrenched attempted to revive their work lives by taking up jobs in alternative industries related to Singapore's favorite pastime: eating good food. These included home businesses, food delivery, and even farming. Even well-established restaurants were hit hard, and those who survived had to find a way to work around circuit breaker restrictions. For Chef Oliver of Open Farm Community, the only way of keeping his customers was to find a way to turn his dining concept from farm to table to farm to home.
We had to pivot our food program for delivery. It was actually good and surprisingly busy, but it was never going to hit anywhere near what we were like when we were open for traffic. Farm to table necessitates that it kind of has to be local. Things that are getting to you the day they're picked is a lot easier to work with than avocados from Mexico or something that are like hard as a rock and you have to keep for a month. There's definitely a beauty in that. The more farmers are enabled to have, disposable income, the better their farms can be, the better the products you'll get. There's a lot of fish farms in Singapore. Our steamed barramundi is farmed off the coast of Pulau Ubin. We cook sago in a white tea, like we make a dashi with an organic white tea. And then there's like tapioca pieces steamed as well. And then marigold flowers from the garden, pea shoots grown in Singapore as well, and chai po, like chwee kueh.
Indeed, local farms played a vital role in keeping food establishments afloat as the pandemic raged on. As borders around the world closed and countries prioritized their own food security over exports, it was immediately clear how crucial it would be for us to have a buffer stock of food to combat such supply disruptions. We currently produce less than 10% of our nutritional needs locally. But aside from consumers like Chef Oliver who understand the importance of supporting local, farms here are also adopting new technology to ramp up production to keep our agri-food sector on track for 30 by 30. Our collective goal to produce 30% of our nutritional needs locally by 2030.
The metric for 30 by 30 is a really strong metric for feeding the population. They're doing it by caloric content, which is going to be much more difficult, but also more true to the goal, which is feeding Singapore. 30 by 30 is certainly ambitious, but good for Singapore to have, definitely.
One of the players making that happen is Blue Ocean Aquaculture Technology, or BOAT, a fish farm that utilizes state-of-the-art nano-oxygen technology to rear fish here in Singapore. No, it's not located off the coast of Pulau Ubin, nor is it along one of the stretches of farms in remote Lim Chu Kang, but rather inside a factory in Tuas.
Boats is different from the conventional farming because we are using nano bubble technology. We are able to produce 12 to 18 tons of fish per year.
As with most investments, the adoption of new technology in farms such as BOAT would incur significant costs, which is why the $60 million Agri-Food Cluster Transformation Fund was established this year. It co-funds local food-producing companies to build and expand their production capacities and capabilities.
Singapore, as you know, is a very resources-scarce country. We have not enough human capital, we have not enough land and all that. So with that ACT come to play, it will help more farms to transform into another high-tech farms with lower reliance on human capital. Of course, it will help 30 by 30. We cannot simply depend on our own import. So in the case of this COVID-19, it will cause disruption to our daily supply. So it's good to have our own if we can produce ourselves. Engineering, technology, automations, biotechs, all these are getting more and more important in today's farming industry. So we need the next generations to participate in this industry. They are more acceptable to new technology, therefore the contribution should be more.
On top of the ACT fund, SFA awarded close to $40 million in funding under the 30 by 30 Express grant in September last year to support the growth of local agri-food players and accelerate the ramp-up in local production within the next 2 years or less. The grant was launched in April last year in swift response to the immediate global food supply challenges posed by COVID-19. The coronavirus outbreak has had a gigantic impact on all of us. People lost jobs, and we got a sobering reminder on the importance of attaining food security. But it's important to remember that things we lost, such as jobs or our favorite restaurants, will always come back. And it seems that industries such as farming will be integral to the process. As more young, highly skilled workers opt to work there, it's only a matter of time before we have a self-sustainable food ecosystem propelled by a thriving farming industry.